What has me so fired up that I'm creating an entirely new YouTube series over it? That's coming up next.
No information obtained from the following production is legal advice and does not create an attorney-client relationship with the law office IAJ, Law LLC, or any attorney or professional appearing on this program. You should consult an attorney for individualized advice regarding your own situation or specific legal concerns.
Broadcasting from Edina, Minnesota, your host, Attorney Jasper Berg. Hashtag Jasper.
Well, hello there. Thanks for joining me. This is what I'm calling Veteran Vitals, Season 1, Episode 1. And I hope you find a lot of value here as a veteran or a family member to a veteran. I am your host, Jasper Berg. And before I get into what really fired me up here just shortly after the 4th of July holiday, number one, I want to give a shout out to a very special Marine up in Beltrami, Minnesota. We lost him here recently, as other on-air personalities have referred to. He was a great American, very, very special person, fantastic family, and a real community leader up there in the Beltrami area. So my heart goes out to that family. And really, I'd like to make sure at least you get something out of this very short segment and encourage you to keep coming back. So right out of the gates, in my office, I'm seeing a lot of veterans not having their power of attorney forms updated. I mean, this is free stuff that every veteran and family member have access to. I'm going to link it on this site and on my website. Really, there's two forms that come to mind for those who reside in Minnesota. The first one is a what is called a short form of power of attorney created by our Attorney General. Again, free. Just have to follow the directions and fill it out with your intent. Fantastic document to help perhaps your spouse cater to your needs if things go downhill. But number two is a VA power of attorney, and the value here is just knowing that this type of form exists. As you know, the number of VA forms out there are exhausting, and really you could spend a very long time just reviewing just a handful. But the punchline here is if you are a veteran seeking benefits or anticipate seeking benefits down the road, whether that is medical records, whether that is military records, or just VA services in general, that's a form, a VA POA form, power of attorney form that is free as well, that a lot of families out there can use right away, or more significantly in a time of emergency. So check it out. I think it's worth our time just to acknowledge or know that these forms exist at really minimal time and investment. But really the goal here of creating this YouTube series is to discuss a topic that I saw on Facebook. And before you say, oh geez, I don't even belong to Facebook. Well, there is a group out there that is devoted exclusively to veterans. I really don't need to name the group. You can probably find it fairly quickly. It's a very large group spanning across the globe. And what happens is veterans post issues or post events that they either need help with or have heard through the grapevine, and then other veterans chime in and give their feedback. And what I'm recalling here recently is a person who posted some information about a car loan and getting relief or having that car loan come down to $0 owed due to their military disability. And as a veteran myself, who also has a VA claim, I just started scratching my head saying, okay, what am I about to read? And sure enough, this veteran suggested that their loan went down to $0, and all these other folks started chiming in. I think just even this last week, about 900 people offered their feedback. and it ranged from, hey, can I get this benefit to waive my loan on my RV, to hey, you should buy disability insurance, to all I did was check this box, to other folks saying, well, what percentage of VA disability, military disability do I need, and is this body part covered? So a lot of rhetoric going back and forth. And really, three legal concepts came to mind right out of the gates that nobody was even discussing. And so that's the intent here. Not necessarily on this particular issue going forward, but just some bad information. So again, this process of getting relief in loans, car loans, as a result of our military disability is really out of line for three reasons. Number one, there's this thing called the UCC Article 9. Just an acronym for Uniform Commercial Code. And it's a concept where it allows lenders or banks to take a interest in a good that you want to buy as a result of a loan, what is called a security interest. Probably you're very familiar with this, but the punchline is, if I have a loan through a lender, they have a security interest and they can repossess whatever it is that I'm purchasing with that money at their discretion. And usually it's about when I go into default into a loan. So the first concept came to mind of, well, hey, if all these veterans, or if these veterans who are chiming in are calling their loan provider or used car dealership or new car dealership and saying, hey, guess what? I have this disability. I can't pay my bills. My friend on Facebook said this, and therefore I'd like to end my car loan. Boom, you might be initiating a repossession process, and of course that would be to a veteran's detriment if they weren't in that status right out of the gates anyways. And usually that person knows without seeing a Facebook posting. The second legal concept that came to mind that of course everybody was ignoring is a tax issue about having loan forgiveness. And the IRS, they care about this stuff, and I'm pretty sure departments of revenue in our state of Minnesota especially, they care about loan forgiveness too. So if veterans are going out there saying, hey, my loan went from X dollars down to zero, they forgave my loan because of my disability. Well, now we're talking about a tax event regarding obtaining a gift or a loan forgiveness. And that this, of course, we're not taking into consideration that third party or that financial institution that is also catering towards forgiving a loan, and they have a secured interest in that motor vehicle too. So when it comes to getting a title, when it comes to making sure that you can transfer that motor vehicle onto a loved one without problems, or trade it in down the road, a lot of problems begin to bubble up as a result of what I think is very bad information on this particular group of veterans that are sharing back and forth. The third concept, which whether you have an interest in or not, is going to be, are there any local laws or rules that apply? And absolutely there are. But what I see when a veteran comes into my office and is when they sign these agreements, well, as you can anticipate, every dealership or every used car dealership is going to have their own loan. So they have their own conditions, their own clauses that they are going to take into consideration when a veteran says, hey, I'm having problems with this or I'm having problems with that. Just having that conversation or introducing that conversation can trigger whatever clauses might be in that agreement. So I caution our veterans who are seeing this type of information and immediately go into, in fact, I saw this one person who said, hey, I'm 100% disabled. Certainly I must be open to this opportunity as well. So, I'm in favor of us veterans giving relief, giving support to one another in these types of groups online or out and about. I think there's a lot of value there in just having camaraderie of whatever era that you and your family served. But let's not jump all in and follow the next person in front of us when it comes to these concepts that are very openly being shared that I believe are very inaccurate. Before I close here in this very first segment, if you are a veteran or you're a family member who has a near relative who served, number one, thank you. But I ask you to go out into your community. If you have some sort of memorial out there that maybe a group of flags or a statue or some sort of a wall with names etched into it, please send it my way. I draw inspiration from that. I love that stuff in the sense that a lot of pride, a lot of history for all of us, not just today, but going back in time, many decades, many centuries. So with that, I wish you the best and come back soon.
Jasper thanks you for listening. Please subscribe or share this production.